We are slamming crappies out of the new Eskimo Eskape 2000. Stay tuned, we're gonna be talking about the new 2000 from Eskimo, and we're gonna be talking some big crappies. Still messing with the early ice, and it's freaking January. I love this new Eskimo shack. Take a look at that. You can tell it's cold out. The hole I just drilled is already getting some ice on it. It's finally cold here in Wisconsin. It's about 19 degrees this morning. The lake that I am on this morning is locked up. Not a ton of ice. I'd say there's probably a good solid 3, maybe 4 inches. This lake is not very big, so I would assume some of the bigger lakes are probably still at that point where they're a little unsafe to walk on. But I'm glad we were able to make it out on this lake. We're gonna be doing a crappie mission this morning, but I did wanna take some time to walk through a new shack that I got this year from Eskimo. This is the Eskimo Eskape 2000. I'm super excited about this one. If you guys watched my channel last year, I rocked the Eskape 2600. And yeah, that shack is awesome. But when you're alone, when you're by yourself, it can be a little hard to deal with. It's big, it's heavy. It's great for having multiple people in the shack. Maybe if you're going for a short little walk, it's not too bad to bring along by yourself. But when I'm hauling that thing in and out of my truck by myself, it takes a toll on you. So I figured I would try out the Eskape 2000 this year. It's gonna kind of double as a one-man for me, basically. Test it out today, see how I like it, give you guys a little rundown of what it is, how it looks, how it's a little different from the 2600 or the 2800 or even the 2400. And hopefully catch some fish out of it today too as well. I'm gonna punch some holes, put the live scope in and see if I can find some schools of fish. And then we're gonna set up inside this thing, just chill out, hopefully catch some fish. If you're new here, please go down, support the channel, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this day rocking and hopefully catch some fish. Stay tuned. Get a hole punched here. The new E40, this thing is pretty slick. Weighing in at 13 pounds, this is honestly one of the lightest actual augers that I've ever used. Not just like a drill with like the pistol bit or something. This is extremely light for actually having an auger head. Perfect for these lakes here in Wisconsin where you're not always drilling through a ton of ice. This drill will actually do 1,300 inches of ice with one charge, so that's pretty good. Figure that's a little over 100 holes if you have 12 inches of ice. So that's a lot of holes with one battery, one Eskimo E40. We're gonna pop one hole here. We're gonna take a look around with live scope, but if you are looking to get yourself a nice auger setup, you can find this on Eskimo's website. Again, weighing in at 13 pounds, this thing is feather light and it ain't gonna add too much weight to your setup. Now, let's get this live scope down and see what we are working with. So for those of you that don't know, I am running the Sniper Marine live scope pole. Biggest reason why I love this pole, just a throttle grip style handle. So all I gotta do is turn that handle and I'm rotating my transducer 360 degrees. And it makes it very easy to just kind of turn this thing and really dial in where you're trying to look with your live scope unit without it kind of maneuvering and turning on its own, because this cord gets cold and wants to kind of force it, you know, each way. A nice sturdy unit, it's gonna stay put and I'm gonna be able to turn it very easily. And I am seeing some pretty nice fish off right in front of me here. Some actually really big marks. Kind of coming in a little closer to me right now. Got him. Feels decent. Oh yeah, slab. Slabs. Look at where that dinner bell is. Gone. That's how you like them right there. That is how we like them. First fish in the Eskimo Eskape 2000. It's a beautiful looking black crappie. Pulling them out of 11 feet of water, these fish are gonna release perfectly fine, and when you can bang on some big crappies like this, it's definitely a good time. But we're gonna go ahead and get this fish put back What an awesome one. And we got that first fish right here on the frostbite dinner bell. This pink pattern is one of my favorite patterns in clear water. Just any baits where you're getting that flash, that chrome pattern, those fish are gonna see it from a mile away. It didn't come rocketing in, but it came over, it's seen this and it wanted to come check it out and ended up annihilating that bait. So this is the smallest size dinner bell that you can get, and that crappie loved it. Got him that time. What do we got? Oh, it is a nice bluegill. Barely nipping at those spikes, so they're not super aggressive. These fish must be eating good in this lake. I don't know what they're eating, but that is probably, I'd say maybe a 7-inch bluegill right there. If we can find his bigger brother, that would be ideal. All right, this guy wants to go back. We'll get him back in the water. Those bigger marks that are coming in and just not doing it on the dinner bell are definitely bluegills, so that is good to know. If you're ever gonna go bluegill fishing, you wanna get yourself some of these right here. Little red spikes. I use red, white. Sometimes I kind of interchange them. The bait shop that I stopped at this morning only had red. And what I do is I load 2 spikes up on there. And those larvae basically just go up and down a little bit in the water column, kind of acting as almost like a plastic. Just to give you a little bit of motion in the water to kind of entice those bluegills to bite, but also have that scent to really drive it home. But my phone is still not connecting. So I'm gonna have to figure this out so I can get some live scope footage going here for you guys. This has gotta be a crappie here. Got him. Yep. This is a freaking tank too. Oh my goodness. Look at that fish. Look at where the dinner bell is. You can't even see it. Now I gotta get it out of there. Oh my goodness, that is so much fun. Right there. The bluegills have been hard to get to eat, but the crappies, when they come in, they commit pretty quickly, and it's a lot of fun. I don't have a bump board with me to measure them, but overall, just a good looking fish right there. We're gonna go ahead and get him back in the water. Peace out, dude. One thing that I am super excited about this year is I am partnered up with Nork Lithium. Now, I have been running the 32 amp hour Nork Lithium battery in my live scope unit the past couple of weeks, and it has been an absolute great battery. I have yet to kill it. I've used it on a couple camping trips, and I've also used it on the ice a handful of times already, and that battery has been very, very stout. Since then, Nork has actually came out with a 50 amp hour battery. It's a big boy, but it is meant to fit in any of the standardized Garmin LiveScope shuttles. ArcLab and Summit being 2 of the most popular, it fits in there perfectly. What this battery is going to allow you to do is run your unit for a very, very long duration of time. With the electronics, I'm running the LVS32 with the black box and then a GPS map 9-inch screen. I'm going to see anywhere from 30 to 32 hours. It's actually a 14.8 volt battery, and it weighs in at 6.9 pounds. So for a 50 amp hour battery, it's not going to add a ton of poundage to your LiveScope setup already, but that higher operating voltage is just going to make your screen look a little more crisp than those 12 volt batteries that you can also run with your units. These are engineered for all season use, so you don't have to just use them on the ice if you're going to be using your unit on a boat or a kayak. This is also another great option to run your electronics for those scenarios too as well. So check out norsk.com, get yourself powered on the ice and on the water today. About 4 feet away right now. Holy smokes. I don't know if this is a crappie. Oh yeah, it's gotta be the way it's coming in. Oh yeah. We got him. It's freaking another good one. Another good crappie. Just demolishing. Again, just demolishing that frostbite dinner bell. My goodness. You guys had seen that there was probably like a good, I don't know, 2 or 3 fish in that pod that were coming in from the right there. And what I've been doing is I've actually been moving around. So what I'm fishing right now isn't typically what you'd be fishing for crappies. Pretty flat on the end that I'm on right now, and there's just kind of scattered weeds. As you can see, there's a piece of wood down there. These fish are just roaming. And what I've been doing is I've actually been moving around a little bit. I've been hopping around in the Eskimo here, just trying to find these fish and stay on top of them. Basically so I can put more on the ice a little faster, but we're gonna get this guy back. It looks like we might have another one coming in here. So real quick, the rods that I am running today is a quick and easy 1-2 punch from Frostbite. I have the Mr. Noodles rod. This is actually the one that I'm running that micro tungsten on. I love this rod from Micro Finesse stuff. You know, those really finicky bluegill bites, and when I'm downsizing basically to these 3 or 4 millimeter tungstens with plastics, or right here to this live bait that I'm using today. So mainly using this, you know, for those smaller presentations, those finicky bluegills. And then the other rod that I am rocking today that you guys have been seeing me catch most of the bigger crappies on is the Royal Flush. Now, what I like about the Royal Flush is it's actually a carbon blank, so you're getting a little bit more feel into that blank as far as when that fish is really coming up and smoking that bait. You're able to feel it just a little bit better throughout that carbon blank than on a fiberglass blank. And you can see what I did here is I actually paired one of Frostbite's spring bobbers on the end of this rod. As you can tell right there, the weight of the spoon is actually pulling that spring bobber down pretty well. But what that spring bobber is allowing me to detect are those up bites that crappies are notorious for. Those crappies are coming up, they're grabbing it, and what I'm seeing is that goes slack. That's how I know, you know, that crappie really grabbed that thing and we're good to go to set the hook. If you're interested in checking out the Royal Flush 36-inch from Frostbite, this is a light rod. You can go to fishfrostbite.com. You can also find the Mr. Noodles rod that we're using for those Micro Finesse style baits on there as well. It looks like we have a fish coming in. I'm thinking crappie. Yes, sir. Good one. Another good crappie. I was trying to get some of the bluegill marks that I seen down there, and this mark was a little big. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but as soon as I set the hook on it, I knew it was going to be a decent crappie again. That's just another tank. They are big in this lake, and they definitely are eating good because they are just thick. Go ahead and get him back. After watching Aaron Weeb's video on crappies, we know that fish are not props, so you want to do your best to get those fish back. Try to take care of those fish as much as you can. Get them back in the water so that they can reproduce and create more offspring, obviously, that are going to get as big as the ones that we're catching. Real quick, now that I've spent a little bit of time in the Eskimo 2000 Escape, let's go ahead and talk about some of the features that I really love about this shack already, and some of the stuff that I'm really going to love here in the near future. As I was saying earlier, this is a really light shack. It actually weighs in at 82 pounds and has 20 square foot of fishable area. So it's considerably less weight than the 2600 that I was using last year when I was out by myself. So it's a lot easier to get into the truck by myself. It's very lightweight, but you also get the space. 20 square foot of fishing space in here is actually quite a bit for a shack this size. I mean, the cool thing about the Escape 2000 here is you're getting the length. So you can still use some of your favorite rods, those longer ones that you use outside of the shack that you just love using. I know I'm really into like 30-inch plus rods, especially for panfish. Today I'm using 36-inch rods, and I'm actually able to use these in the shack. Very, very easy. You have room to put your heater over here. You also have room for your electronics. I kind of have my live scope backed into one of these corners. I definitely had room for another Vexler unit if I had a buddy in here, or if I wanted to place a heater in here. I didn't today just because of ice thickness, but I have that room to do so just because there is so much space in here. One of the biggest difference between the 2000, the 2400, the 26, and the 28 is the bench seat in the 2000. I'm really digging this bench seat. Unlike others, it doesn't have the cushion on here. After a while, what that cushioned seat does is it actually kind of gets an indentation from where you sit on it. It actually becomes uncomfortable. What this is the same material that are on the chairs in the 26, the 24, and the 28. Not gonna hold any of that memory. So when you're sitting on this and you get up, it's gonna go back to the way it was before you started sitting on it. So it's never gonna hold that memory, and it's always gonna be comfortable for you. Again, you're gonna have that up on the backrest here, which is very easy on the back and comfortable to lean back on as well. It does fold down, obviously. When you're moving, you're able to put this down so you can fold everything up nice and compact. It fits right underneath your tonneau cover. Not only does the top fold, the bottom folds. And when you open this up, you open all this space that you normally have a tough time getting to under the seat. I'm able to slide my live scope in here. I got a heater in here. I also brought a propane tank out today that I was able to fit under the seat here, and then still be able to close this and sit on it as there are items underneath. Now, one thing I did notice when I was sitting in here are the placement of the windows. The windows are at eye level, so I can see all the way around the shack. One thing that happens a lot, and I've noticed it especially when you're running tip-ups or iFish Pros, is when you're leaning back. In order to look out this window, you have to lean forward and kind of look to see where your tip-ups are. Well, the nice thing that Eskimo did to overcome that was put a window right here. All you have to do is unvelcro this, and now you can stay lean back and look through this window to check on your set lines. Eskimo really took the time to think about where you're gonna be sitting, where your eyes are gonna be at, and where somebody might be putting set lines outside to make it just a little bit easier to watch those set lines from where you're sitting. Overall, the Eskimo 2000 Escape is a very spacious shack. For what it's worth, if I'm going out alone, I'm gonna be taking this Eskimo Escape 2000 with me on all of those trips. Hi. Got him. That's a nice bluegill. Had to play with that fish a little bit. He was kind of back and forth, up and down, and I ended up raising him up, and he didn't do it when he got up there. So what I did is I just dropped my bait down back to the bottom, and then once he got back down there, he was a little more comfortable and he ate that jig. But another nice fish, not an absolute tank, but probably is going to be the fish we end on today. Had a ton of fun getting up here, catching a bunch of bluegills and some really nice crappies. All the bluegills are basically, I would say, 7 to 8 inches, eater size. If we were going to be keeping fish, they'd be great ones to throw in the grease, but we are giving these bluegills a free pass today. Yeah, I think I'm going to get everything packed up here, back into the truck and head home for the day. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about the Eskimo Escape 2000. I'm definitely going to be using this shack a little more and more here as we finally start getting into the ice fishing season. Thank you guys again so much for tuning into today's video. If you liked it, please go down and hit that subscribe button down below. I don't think there's anything left but to say keep living your dream, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.